We are live here today on American Zombie. Like say, what's up, man? Good to see you, Mr. X. Always, brother. Yeah, man. Should be a great discussion. We'll get deep on the topic. Is evolution a lie? Is evolution a lie? And there's a lot of pictures. There's a lot of known frauds. Piltdown Man, Ernst Haeckel's drawings. I mean, it's amazing that we had somebody on here a while ago that said Ernst Haeckel was a respected member of his society, colleagues. But then when they found out he lied about the drawings, I think that kind of changed. And most people that followed him in that thing still haven't come to that realization. Mr. X, man, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, thank you for having this show. I was up early because it's football. I don't know. I know I'm a zombie, but glad to see you having this evolution debate. I'm never going to miss these. I tried not to, but great discussion. I'll let you go ahead and give us the breakdown here because I'm looking forward to it.
Thanks, man. Yeah, I'd like to say what's up to Richard, man. Good to see you. Drew Ma, good to see you, brother. Always, man. Everybody, this is going to be a big one. Evolution. Is evolution a lie? And then when we look at this, the transitional fairy tale that they try to tell us all the time, that it goes from monkey to ape to other apes to gorillas, and magically, these species, these totally different species, turn into one another, branch off with no name common ancestors. They'll bring that up. And, I think about it like, wow, people don't know that when somebody draws a chart like this is a fairy tale.
Mm-hmm.
This is a straight fairy tale. And one big one is to show the coelacanth, right? The coelacanth fossil over here. Magically, the people that adhere to the religion of evolution have said this is hundreds of millions of years old. It makes you wonder how they got that date.
And look at that fish. Look at that fish with the fins on the top. Like that other picture you just showed right there. A fish will decay in a day. You catch a fish, leave it outside. Next day, it won't look anything like it did originally. And that thing has its fins, even has the detail of the fins on it.
Yes, amazing.
That means it fossilized with just instantly.
Yes, instantly pressed inside of sediment that preserved it so perfectly. And they'll say, no, it was billions of years of sediment that build up on this.
Mm-hmm.
That's the first lie. So
that's not science either. That's faith. That's a belief. Billions of years. That's not science right there.
Exactly. Mm-hmm. And they have pushed this. Oh man, this is, it evolved. It evolved over hundreds of millions of years. And then magically, they started catching them off of the coast of Africa.
Right there. Look at that fin.
Right?
Fin right there.
So the thing is, like, what happened to people being able to question how they lied? It's like, wait a minute. No, you said that this was hundreds of millions of years old.
Yep. And just like you said, no hard science, no missing link, plenty of frauds that have been exposed. Doesn't matter. The zombies will still take it as hard science. It doesn't matter.
Yep. Totally. Then they found another fossil. And then they said Ida, they called it Darwinius massali or miscellany. It's like a nomenclature they tried to put in here. Darwinius, the genus Darwinius. And they celebrated this. Again, another fairy tale. They were like, hey, let me open up a book of fairy tales and just pick an age, 47 million years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Why not 46? Why not 45? Why not 52 million years ago? Because they just make this stuff up.
Yep.
And then, as it was looked into deeper, scientists said no. for the following reasons. There is no evidence to suggest that either species is a direct ancestor of humans, and this animal is one of many links, they try to say, because this is their little game. Some scientists will say, well, there's many links to the long chain of evolution that we can't look at. It's great when you can't look at the evidence. You can say whatever you want. So they're saying at least these guys are saying, look, this is not a link, man. This is not a link. So you have internal beef within the pseudoscientific community. Yeah, exactly. Alexis, good to see you. And that's a better way to put it. Evolution is not a lie. It's a scam, Alexis says. Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I was just saying, think of its power over the minds of the zombies. When you think of yourself through an evolutionary process, okay, that's how it happened. End of story. Not much else to discuss. But when you view things as through a creation lens, all of a sudden it's not end of story. It's like, well, wait a minute. Who created us? Why they created us? And now we've got a whole different discussion and a whole different thought process going on. So that's power right there. You go from not even caring. Because think about it. When you heard evolution in school, you sitting there afterwards questioning things and wondering about things. No, it's like, okay, that's what it is. I take the test, done. But when you believe that you were created, now that's going to stay with you. That's something you're going to be thinking about when you're at home, not even doing homework. It's a powerful thing. It gets people to think, but they don't want people to think. They want them zombified. So
exactly. And it creates a division to look at other people as lesser, evolved, and to say, oh, that's why we're in a world like today. These people that have been detrimental to the human species and the planet that we live on, it's just evolution. It's just evolution. And that's their, hey, you know what? There's nothing we can do about it. And it really, I mean, evolution is the doomerism religion, basically. It's a religion of doomerism.
It is.
And it really, I mean, some of the stuff, when I look at it, I see it's like, you got to be kidding me with this stuff here. And it's like, oh, the Moselle shale pit in Germany, a lemur. And again, Darwinius, and then it goes to apes and early hominids. All a lie. All a lie. Those early hominids, they try to say the Neanderthals look like this 20,000 years ago. But then, as they started to see Neanderthals being found with highly advanced things they would consider, bigger brain sizes, then it magically turned into this.
Yeah.
The Neanderthal magically lightened up, the hair lightened up. It was no longer like what they tried to portray early humans on the right, because first, when they thought Neanderthals weren't intelligent, they put this here.
And that, I was just going to say, that picture you showed earlier of the right there, that is very deep on a subconscious level, because look, it's saying the lower species was darker skinned, and then the highly evolved species, superior species, was light skinned. There's an implementation implying it's implying racism on a subconscious level, or inferiority between groups. It really is.
Exactly. It really is. This is why I say evolution is a religion. Evolution's a religion, with the scholars waiting for Darwin to come back, the Pope. It's really ridiculous, man. Alexa says, MD, what's your thoughts on the argument that evolution exists because of dogs? I've seen some arguments that dogs are proof of evolution exist. They're proof evolution exists due to them constantly evolving. Well, scientifically, the way to term that is, dogs and all life are adapting. And dogs specifically was bred. They were bred from a species of dog that, breeding the ones with shorter hair. I mean, the experiments that they've done with dogs to create smaller dogs
Yeah.
and bigger dogs are just, I mean, it's some Frankenstein stuff.
But it's still a dog.
Yeah, exactly. And Nate Wace says it good. Dogs don't evolve, they get bred. Exactly.
Hmm.
Exactly. And we see this with humans too. They don't evolve, they get bred, they adapt to the environment. So just the way a human would adapt to a hotter environment or a colder environment, it's just the way we see animals evolving. And when it goes into certain structures, like when we look at this structure on this insect, right? As we go closer, we start to see in between the legs, it looks like gears,
Yes.
like a gear type of mechanism. And these type of things these are the things they don't want people to look at. That there are certain insects that look almost mechanical. There's parts of them that look almost mechanical in nature. But if they do that, then we start to realize there's a big mystery.
Hmm.
Big mystery here.
And doesn't
And
it show design? Doesn't it imply design if we look at it objectively? Not without any.
something, yeah, it implies that that it did not happen by chance.
Yeah.
So just to be, because, if anybody says design or anything, it kind of lumps them in with the intelligent design people who are religious. And it's sad because we need to use words like that, but then it gives the implication that they're with these guys, who are excellent scientists, Stephen Meyer and Michael Behe and a few others. The guy that wrote Zombie Science too, Jonathan Wells. And when they found a tooth. They found a tooth and they created this entire elaborate picture here,
Oh,
saying
wow.
that this was the Native Americans. They call it Nebraska Man.
Hmm.
It was found in Nebraska. And, how do you get this? I mean, this is like you were saying, a demonization of people
Yes.
to say they're lesser. It has an implication like this to say, oh, one is more superior than the other
Hmm.
because of evolution.
That's right.
Evolution, man. Ashar, good to see you, Ashar. Dogs are inbred to achieve breeds, and the gene pool shrinks. Dog breeds are mutations, not evolution. Yeah, yeah, they're mutants. Yeah, exactly. They're mutations that that actually lose genetic material. And once they lose the genetic material, they're not going to gain that back. We never see the gain of function. We always see the loss. So, like in the case of malaria, they will start producing blood cells that have a little divot in them so the malaria can't dock. But with that happening, that adaptation, which they will, of course, they'll lie. This stream is evolution a lie? We see another lie by saying, oh, they evolved. How do we know? We know they don't evolve. That divot in the blood cell is what also causes sickle cell anemia in many Africans with that specific lineage. Not all Africans get that, but there are certain ones. There are certain African Americans that get that. And Alexis says, do I believe that dogs came from wolves? Wolves were possibly the wild canine breed.
Sure.
And it's not like wolves came from bears. Like they'll try to say Darwin used to say bears came from whales. I mean, it's just ridiculous stuff. So the wolf breed, the canine, basically, it seems to be one type of created canine that didn't happen by it didn't happen by chance, of course.
Hmm.
Yeah, a copy of a copy of a copy. I think it's a type of bulldog. I think it's the pug. From inbreeding so much, they have breathing problems. The face, becomes more pushed in, and I mean,
The eyes pop out too.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. And current wolves, yeah, as Shar says, current wolves, no. Yeah, definitely not current wolves. It has to come from something that, honestly, dogs are being bred, and this is the mystery. Dogs are being bred. You have pictures of dogs on Egyptian hieroglyphs.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes you wonder if there's pictures of dogs that are supposedly so old, they're going to try to make up the story that a wolf started coming around a campfire and people started feeding it. This is the fairy tale again. We're
Yes.
going to fairy tale land under the disguise of science. They'll say, oh, well, my science teacher told me that. Well, I guess that must make it scientific, right?
Yeah, can I mention one more thing too about evolution?
Mhm.
Because they always say it was random, it was by chance. Well, wait a minute. You're saying we evolved to a higher order. In order to evolve to a higher order, there has to be a standard. It can't be chance. If there's a standard, then that eliminates chance or any random process. That means there's structure. There's the still. You go back to design. Even if the evolutionary process were true, which nothing supports that it is, there still has to be some type of standard you're evolving to, and that's not chance.
Yep.
Because they
They
say,
don't.
well, if there's a God and he did a really bad job, based on what? What's the standard? It's like
Oh,
it's all random.
yeah. And what they really don't want to talk about is maybe there were creators before a single creator. Maybe, and this is where religion, I think, if they're not careful when they put out the scientific stuff, will push people to evolution. Because when they say, "Oh, well,
Great.
my book says everything," and all, and it's like, no, 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 no. That's going to push people back over there.
I 100% agree with that. 100%. I don't. I'm the same way. When I see these debates, they're
Mhm.
great at debating creation, but then they want to push their religious beliefs. I don't agree with that. That should be a
Mhm.
separate issue altogether, a
Yes,
separate discussion. Leave it out of the equation.
exactly.
Yeah.
And they should bring up the fact that these evolutionists are also creationists when they try to use that. I think James Tour, who's very religious, he says that that's the last slur that they can call me legally, is a
Mhm.
creationist. But the cognitive dissonance in a person's mind who is part of the religion of evolution, they don't realize that they're calling someone a creationist, but meanwhile everybody that any theory of people being here is a creation story.
Exactly.
Right? They
Right.
think it was created magically by chance. And
Hmm.
the religious creationists, at least one, are ahead in the sense that they'll admit that they're religious. The
Yes.
other people don't admit that. They'll lie and say evolution is not a religion, which we do see. It falls into the three categories: belief, behavior, and a belonging. And deleted says, explain how the same species ended up being different in other parts of the world. For example, the different types of beers around the world. Okay,
But they're still bears. That doesn't.
exactly.
That's a
And
panda is a bear, just like a
yeah,
black bear. It's a
yeah.
bear.
See, and this is where the leader is mistaken, is incorrect in thinking, because again, latching on to that lie of evolution.
Sad. Really.
Bears in different environments will adapt to those environments. They won't evolve. It's no evolving. The word evolve, if you look it up in Latin, means to unfold. So when they apply it and say, oh no, this means evolution, that means evolution, there's about 6 different
Hmm.
definitions now for evolution, and stars and all of this other stuff starts to evolve. It really is crazy. Is
And how
that
does that prove that we came from there? Because okay, look at the different bears, look at the different dogs. Okay, so human evolves from
Mhm.
lower species based on that. That's not science. That's ridiculousness.
Exactly. That's prejudice, actually.
Yeah.
Thinking that other life forms are lower and higher. It's saying they're different. Science would classify that as different,
Hmm.
but not lower or higher. Remember, these were created by extremely prejudiced people.
Absolutely, hundred
Uh,
percent.
the full opening the book of The Origin of Species, it says it right here in the title. The Origin of Species, right? On the Origin of Species. They won't mention in the means by means of natural selection. So the origin of species by means of natural selection, or the preservation of favored races in the struggle for life. So life becomes a struggle, doesn't become cooperative,
Hmm.
and it's always a battle, just the way we see when Darwin came in. I mean, this was during brutal slavery times.
Yeah.
So they're like, they must be higher or somewhere. Oh, it's evolution. We're not doing anything wrong.
Mm-hmm.
So it basically blesses immoral behavior. And then they create these little charts to say, oh, look, they look similar. That's evolution. Again, it's so ridiculous
It
that
is.
it's just like we see some stuff, pet rock, ridiculous, but it's sold because the majority of people, like I said, the channel American Zombie,
Mm-hmm.
these finches, Darwin's magical finches, have adapted. There's no evolution, evolving. No, they adapted to the islands that they were on, and life forms can adapt extremely quickly. We see that with Mount St. Helens, that within hours, days, and months, you actually had these strata formed that, if not seen, say they found this somewhere else in the world, they would say these are millions of years old. These are
Mm-hmm.
millions of years old, and it's a lie we can see because we charted it through Mount St. Helens. We see the carved out with the strata, and people would say, "Oh, you see that top one? It's darker." No, that's more of the ash that settled on top and made that layer of ash. So they'll say that layer of ash is clearly not as old as the layers beneath it, which we know now everything was formed at once
Yeah.
during this catastrophe. And the problem is people can't really think that far.
Mm-hmm.
And this is where deleter, this is a cognitive dissonance. You should look that word up. No one, if you believe in both creationism and evolution, so basically you're saying a religious type or whatever, or non-random, that's an oxymoron. That's an oxymoron. So you're saying that this is where you're confused. You're saying that things can be created, but then it evolves. There is no scientific evidence of something transforming, because that's really the word, mutating into another life form.
Or another species too. Yeah.
Oh, yeah, yeah, totally crazy.
And
No
you know
one.
what's really great? Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say those pictures you just showed, and you've seen it in the books. You know, if I was to make a picture of, say, Bugs Bunny on one end, all the way to Fred Flintstone, as crazy as ridiculous as that sounds, that has as much scientific proof as the pictures shown in the textbooks. It's all made up. It's all fantasy. It never happened. There's no scientific proof. So you might as well just put cartoon characters on there. But they
Yeah,
put these other pictures trying to justify it as, oh, here's the science. We'll make it a little bit more complex so it doesn't look so ridiculous. But no, it's all fantasy land.
yeah.
It really is. And they're
Oh,
teaching.
they do. Oh, they do put the cartoons. We seen that they do. These cartoons, they have them everywhere. This is a cartoon here.
Yeah.
They put this is another cartoon if they want the fish cartoon. And Alexis is right. No one has ever seen evolution change an animal in real time. And if we bring it up, hey, millions of years, back to millions of years, that's exactly what they say.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the thing. Again, I don't know if I can get you to think, but when you say humans are superior, that's a superiority complex that you have. To
Yeah.
say that, even human and flies are extremely different. They contain some of the similar genetic material.
And I
So
like to comment on that too when you're done.
yeah, please.
Clearly, humans are superior than flies. Wait a minute. By what standard and who makes the standard? That
You're
implies some type of universal standard. But there's,
exactly.
according to you, it's all natural. There's nothing outside the
Yep.
human mind to create these standards.
Yep.
So,
This is the standard right here, like you said earlier. The standard that creates a pseudo scientific form of racism, basically, that is based on lighter skin being more advanced. And it's funny how Neanderthals went from this being the dark, brutish, and then when they found tools and stuff, then it went to being this. And
exactly.
that's what turned into the magical fairyland. It just and we're looking at this from a scientific lens. So there is no superior. If a fly can give you malaria and then you end up being ended from that, who's really superior then?
Thank you. Exactly. How do you
Yeah,
know we're not trying to evolve to flies? I mean, you're implying some type of universal standard that requires a designer. Sorry, delete the whatever your name is. That
mm,
and you deny that. You
mhm,
deny that. You said there's framework in the universe without a framer. It's ridiculous.
exactly. Yeah, just yeah, and Alexis is right. No one has ever seen. And if you see an animal that changes, adapted to an environment, that's still not evolution. It's adaptation. And the
Exactly.
only reason they can say this happened is through schooling. I mean, if you have to put yes, evolution's a fact on the test, that creates a type of belief in the mind, a type
Hmm.
of religious belief, the scholastic religious belief of evolution in in the face of many, many frauds, language lies, like a type of language manipulation to say the missing link. That's like us saying, well, deleter, that you were you did something and there's missing evidence. Well, wait a minute, you're saying you didn't do something. No, we'll find the evidence and we're going to keep you until we find all of that evidence. So now an innocent person gets persecuted or a lie gets pushed because somebody used a word that people can't discern and say, wait a minute, it's not missing, he didn't do it. You don't have any evidence, it's non-existent. So non-existent transitional species switched around to be called a missing link. You see how really deceptive that is? That's
Hmm.
extremely deceptive. Just to call it a missing link, a common ancestor, another lie. There's a common ancestor. What's the name of this common ancestor? Oh no, it doesn't have a name because we haven't found it yet, because it doesn't exist. This is simple thinking. But as we know on American Zombie, that we're the survivors in the zombie apocalypse of the mentally dead.
Yeah. And like you said, Ernest Haeckel, Piltdown Man. We can give Delete the Deleter all the frauds that have been exposed. It doesn't change his opinion.
Yeah.
He's that zombified.
Yep. And his student, oh, I forgot his name, but his student is the one that found supposedly another fraud, Java Man,
Hmm.
in Indonesia. And on his deathbed, he admitted to finding primates on the same strata. So he lied, just like teacher and student. The apple don't fall too far from the tree, basically. And Alexa says humans and flies are more similar than think. People think humans are smarter than animals, as if humans aren't zombies who follows orders and don't think for themselves. Exactly, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's so true. Like when we look at flies and humans, what they don't realize, the similarity is we both have limbs, we both have eyes, we both ingest stuff, different types of mouths. But when you look at the basic structure of eating, digesting, um, defecating, and then also procreating, that's in line with all life, basically. There's just some life that absorb things differently than others, uh, and procreate in different ways.
Yeah.
And Ashar says, I don't believe what they say about how maggots show up. I think they show up. I think what it is the flies lay eggs in dead flesh. And the maggots, so those eggs hatch into maggots and they're eating the dead flesh.
Mm.
And then those like in a dead mouse or something, and then those maggots eventually will birth into flies. So it goes into that larva cycle to the adult cycle. It definitely has like a difference. Yeah, yeah, exactly. You know what? This is an extremely great thing you said here, Alexis, because this totally shows us whether how a person's zombie or not, because it tells that we know if 99% of humans believe in an evolution, right? Shows that we aren't superior to a simple-minded animal. But this is the thing that we can add to this. If humans were removed from the equation of life on Earth, life would keep going.
Mm-hmm.
So it doesn't need us. But if flies or certain things were removed, we would see the ecosystem start to change dramatically.
Yes.
Possibly to a point where nature would have to try to repair itself, like in a different way. And then it's off balance, kind of like when they bring invasive species in and it starts like doing things to the native habitat animals. And they say, man, we got to get these plants or these animals that are invasive species because it starts taking over the other species. So if the flies or the bees, for instance, they were saying about the bees, we see how integral they are to the structure of the web of life. But humans seem not to be that important. Yeah, it doesn't say, I mean, I would say we're part animal. We're definitely part like the beast, basically. The flesh, they say, one guy, he said it best. Because I asked him, I said, so you're saying the 666 is the carbon print, because carbon is 6 electrons, 6 neurons, and 6 protons. And he's like, yeah. So basically, whatever spirit form, let's just say in theory, if we were spirit form that inhabited the physical flesh, that is the mark. The flesh, the body itself is the mark of the beast, because the body has what we see in the beast: liver, heart, lungs, blood vessels, stomach. You think about that, brain, you start to say, wow, there's something. And I can't say that animals don't have something like that either. There could be. And I can't really say humans have language, but so do crows. A crow can speak like a human. And when they try to say, oh no, it couldn't, the vocal cords, all right, ta-da, it speaks. Now what's science got to say? Science can't explain any of us, yet we exist. And it'll try to keep, science won't lie. But these people put in these positions by, I don't know who behind the scene, the religious of the evolution, there's the one. We produce tears. I think there are other animals that do. Cats, and I'd have to look into it, but I know there's animals that also produce tears. So when we look at certain animals that feel, that have these emotions, that like language, we see that animals have, they're starting to decode a lot of animal language with a lot of these programs. They're saying that a lot of animal languages are the same thing, set at different speed and different cadences. Very similar in a way to where I've heard like certain things in Chinese that they would say like the word ma and ma'a and like ma, like different ways of saying the same word means totally different things, which might be a better way of language, because we know that English is the language of the spellcaster. We know that, especially from when I wrote Secret Words, English is straight spellcaster, secret words. The vibration that we're casting with what we're saying is just straight some type of wizardry that we don't even know. It's like we got a magic wand and it's called our tongue. And every time we speak, we're casting a spell with a language that we barely even know, or even worse so, want to know.
But it affects us either way. When people say, I don't want to know it, I don't care. Well, guess what? It's still going to affect you. You're still in the mix. You're in the matrix. You're not escaping this thing. So
Yeah.
just being ignorant of it doesn't save you of it.
Yeah, exactly. Being ignorant does not save you. It definitely, it will not save you. Guy of the Sage, good to see you. I guess it's no sense. You're right, in getting into I don't see why we should. But if anybody gets into a fight over semantics of the use of language, it's really more to understand how somebody else is using something and then just maybe leave them alone. And that's the hardest thing, to leave them alone, especially when they keep coming back. So you got to think of, okay, I need to think of a nice way. I got to get real smart, because I got to make this person think that I'm being nice to them to get them to leave. But some people, they're stupid, but they ain't that stupid. They'll know, hey, they'll continue the conversation. We're all guilty of it too on certain times, and I think when we're guilty of it, it's some type of lack of something in us that wants to keep talking after the person says, hey, all right, we'll get together later, we'll talk soon. And then I say that sometimes, and they go on again, blah, blah, blah. And it's just like, holy smokes. It's like, what is it? This person's like sucking the life out of me right now. Right?
I know people just like that. I do.
Oh, man. And you're like, look, we're going to talk again, and it's just straight vampirism. And it's like, the Plasma Void, good to see you, man. I'm just looking through some of the contents. Holy smokes. We are not superior. You know something? It's like the natives said. They said, when your bones turn to dust and go back to the earth, and the blood in your veins goes back to the sea, then and only then will you see that you never owned the earth. The earth always owned you. And that's where the beast, the mark of the thing that we're in, that makes a lot of, that guy doesn't have a channel anymore. He left YouTube. He was a younger guy, and we met about maybe 10 years ago, 12 years ago. And I had left YouTube already from 06 to 09, 2010. And then when Google bought it, that's when I left it for a while. But yeah, man. Yeah. There is he was the one that when I saw one of his videos, I said, holy smokes, this here, let me,
And evolution is such, people don't realize the danger of it, because if you can believe in the lie of evolution, what other lie are you going to believe?
Yeah, exactly.
They got you where they want you. You'll believe this. If you believe, Bugs Bunny can turn into Fred Flintstone, because that's really what they're pushing, then okay, we can throw some other stuff at you too. Go to this country, fight this war, and kill these people, because of some, we'll just make up a story about it, and you'll believe it. It's, I mean, having slavery, think about it. Evolution played a critical role in that, to show, that we're not created by some higher power that gives us value. It's like, no, we evolved, and one group is better than the other, so we can have laws that discriminate against people. It's perfectly valid. If you think about it, if evolution were true, that wouldn't be a big deal, but that doesn't translate to reality. In reality, it is a big deal. And people don't, you know what I mean? How can it be a big deal if we evolved? It can only be a big deal if we were given some type of value by some type of higher power. That's the only way people would take offense to it. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, a lot of people, I mean, with I think about the religion basically, and that's why I put it as the religion of evolution, because here where I put the angel apes, the scholars, Darwin with the Pope, the T-Rex, it really is like a big show. This was something that they made to say was Piltdown Man. And then that was proven to be a hoax. They found a tooth. They said it was this entire whole ecosystem, wife and husband. I mean, and then they found out the tooth didn't even belong to a human. Anything. I mean, somebody desperately trying to push this theory as if it was a fact.
And there it is again. Look at that cover.
Yeah. Yeah, totally, man.
Darker to lighter.
Exactly.
Think that's coincidence?
Totally. Yeah. It definitely not coincidence, man. Alexis, brother, thank you for the support, man. I appreciate it. Alexis says, like telling a certain type of man to leave, it doesn't go. Agent Smith, yeah, the biggest black book character ever. Yes, man. Totally. Yeah. Yeah. It's just when I think about that, it really makes me wonder why. But you know what? It's not that why would somebody make a book like this? I think he's questioning this because I have to translate it. It's I think it's in Cyrillic Russian. So it's not too hard. The letters actually do correlate if you look them up. I remember I had a friend that from Russia, we used to talk, and I'd learned little bits, but this is like, I think this is, it's not that old actually. It's not that old, Mr. X brother. Thank you for supporting the show, bro. I appreciate it,
Absolutely.
man. Yeah,
You
man.
know, in a deep, oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. What were we saying?
On a deeper level, too, we're seeing evolution, the original species living in a warm weather climate. But
Hmm.
then we go to the lighter skin in a colder weather climate. It's like, you know, they imply a lot of racism.
Yeah,
They
yeah.
really do.
And you know, that's something when I bring out the human origin papers, it's going to shock people because it's so following the science. You already know that when you follow the the trails, the evidence, it will lead to some crazy places. You know, there's a lot of things, and not, you know, a lot, but there's things in our life where we would say, "Wow, I never would have thought it would have been this."
Mhm.
And you know that has happened in science a lot. Alexis Jun says, "I'd like to share a revelation that I've had during my time here. It came to me when I tried to classify your species. I realized that you're not actually mammals. Every mammal on this planet instinctively develops a natural equilibrium with the surrounding environment, but you humans do not. You move to an area and you multiply and multiply until every natural resource is consumed. The only way you can survive is to spread to another area. There is another organism on this planet that follows the same pattern." Yes, Agent
Hmm.
Smith, a virus, actually. Yeah, a
Wow.
virus. And this is the thing where I'm like, okay, it makes a lot of sense. And Brother Arabian, good to see you, man. Went from Windows Cell to Linus Maxim. What's up, bro? Always a pleasure,
Hey,
man.
good to see you.
Yeah, man. Yeah, you know, the virus quote from Agent Smith, man. You're so right. It's like we I think that the type, I guess we have the language classified as properly, like industrialized civilization is the one that spreads like the virus. Because like in, I don't know if it was India or Indonesia or Thailand, a country in that area had used the the roots of the two trees on each side of the river to make a natural bridge out of the roots that can last for hundreds of years.
Hmm.
So, and after a while, it gets stronger. It's like kind of like, I mean, we already know today with certain hemp ropes, we can make naturally antibacterial, super strong rope bridges that for short distances, if something is crossing, you know, across a river that's not too wide, but also, you know, when you look at people that live in accordance with nature, we don't see that virus like growth. We see it clearly with cities. I think even Rogan had mentioned something like yeah, you have these, if you look at a city from up in the air, it looks like a growth. It looks like you know, that gives off pollution, especially if you look at a factory. So if you look at a factory, you can clearly see that that's some just straight pollutant. But when I did Toilet Beach, I noticed that was like one of the least viewed streams because it's hard to look at sewage being pumped under a pipe, you know, that goes under the ground into the ocean, and you're seeing where it lets off into the ocean. It's horrible,
Hmm.
raw sewage. So when we look at like Toilet Beach, and now we're seeing that radioactive stuff. I mean, they're treating the water like a dumping ground. So if we were to use the science to clean the earth and stop polluting, and to say, okay, there's much more natural alternatives than what we're doing. It's like there's evil people or people that are really messed up that are running this.
Yes, 100%.
Yeah, it's really messed up and not
Got to
and,
be deliberate. It has to be
yeah,
deliberate.
yeah. And what it is they push, they're all part, maybe not fully believers, but they use the religion of evolution to control the rest of the people.
Yes.
Because there's so many people, when they see something destructive, they've been trained, one, through the religion of government, you know, which the religion of government and evolution go hand in hand. It's the
Mhm.
same thing. Evolution is basically what the government pushes, because now it's saying that, hey, you know, we're the ones in charge. There's nothing else, This is not in some way a test or something like that. Don't come at me with those silly things. This is materialism. I had a guy on this other stream. I was on there earlier today. I'm gonna see if I got the clip. I might put it up in video form, where he's supposedly, he says he's a materialist, but he's a high level guy, PhD or something. And he said that he's done a lot of, I think he's a biochemist. And the level of ignorance, and the level of, I asked a certain question, like how we already know when they say one thing that turns into the other, the bacteria. I said, well, what type of bacteria was it, and what type did it turn into? And then 40 minutes later, it was like, oh man, you shouldn't be asking, what do you need to know that for? And I'm like, what do you mean? What do I need to know this for? I'm asking you a question. It's a hilarious clip. I gotta find it, because I'm like, and then the host is straight chameleon. He tried to say, oh, he's an agnostic. And then he's like, well, he believes in evolution. He tried to say that crap like, oh, you can believe in God, and you can believe in evolution. I'm like, holy smoke. So they try to double team, but I was like, look, just give me the name. And then, like, you already know, they start to, oh, well, the process of evolution. And I'm like, I didn't ask for the process of evolution. I just asked you for the simple, what was this bacteria called? And then what type of bacteria did it turn into? And then when I left, finally, after about an hour, I was just like, man, these guys, when he was like, he got mad.
Yeah.
Like, what right do you have to ask this question? I was like, what do you mean? What right? Well, it turned into needing a right to ask the question.
But that's just that's exactly how a cult is. Then you don't ask questions outside. You don't question things, and people gang up on you when you do. I mean, I don't know if they're doing it on a subconscious level. They don't even realize it, but they're acting like a cult. No different than
Yeah.
Yeah, they really.
It's the cult of evolution.
Yeah.
Alexis says evolution can be spelled into outlive. What? Wow, no. Or outlive, no. Okay, so, or no outlive. Holy shit. If no is part, no, wait, is it? Yeah, no is part of it. Wow, thanks for that. Thank you, man. The meaning. All right, now that I'm looking at this, because this is the anagram. So that's the anagram to evolution. One of them.
Wow, no outlive, like no afterlife. That's a good one.
No outlive.
Good job.
Holy smokes. That is amazing, Alexis. Thank you, man.
Yeah.
I gotta put that in spell secret words too, man. I'll give you credit, man. Thank you so much.
Good job.
It really no outlive. Or outlive, no, I think no outlive sounds about, because you got to figure out, like, you can put it in certain ways, and that's where they try to say chance is 25%. So if we had 4 different ways to do this, and it's spelled other words like live out, no, or no live out, stuff like that, and we say, okay, just the fact that the words spell something about life, live, right there, it's like, wait a minute, how is that even in the word? And then, yeah, no outlive. Wow. I think it does have a meaning. I think it has a meaning of English is trying. Now, I'm speaking of English as if it's like an entity, the language itself, like a living entity, the words, the spells, the what somebody would call the immaterial thing, right? I think it's warning us with certain words. So English, the spell within English that we can decipher, somehow this language can let us know. And like evolution is no outlive. It's saying that there's no more life after this.
Yes.
Because that's it. So that I'm thinking could be the message in this. Wow. Yeah, I would say that's the meaning. Thank you, Alexis. That's some really deep, man.
Great job. Great job.
Yeah, cheers, man. Cheers. Who created the Matrix movie is completely backfill. It's insane. The guys that created the Matrix, I don't think are no longer considered guys. I think they changed the the Wachowski brothers that made it. They're the Wachowski sisters right now.
Oh.
Yeah, if you look up online, I was like, I was it almost sounds unreal, right? It almost sounds unreal, right? It almost
Yeah,
sounds unreal, man. But
you're
yeah,
right. Look how she's sisters. Oh,
yeah,
yeah, they just went trans.
that's crazy, right?
What's the point? What is the
Yo,
point?
it's insane. We live in, I don't even know what to call it. I don't even know what to call it, Mr. X.
Unlike previous generations, they'd say, "What's this world coming to?" We have a right to say, "What's this world coming to?" Because it's really
It,
going.
it it just, the fact that that happened so quick, and it
Mhm.
went from the brothers to the sisters, and I was like, whoa. And the Matrix one was definitely, I mean, really the series, but one is all you need to watch.
Of course.
And yeah, it's definitely some legendary, that but I have to admit, movies like Gattaca, the fact that it needed no special effects
Mhm.
actually even had like a vibe as if it was maybe even in like the 50s or the 40s. I forgot what they call that color tone of Gattaca. Like it's kind of similar to the Blade Runner, the second Blade Runner color tone, kind of like a desert kind of thing feel, like a yeah, like retro.
I mean, definitely. Ever since Contagion, I saw that movie. We got to pay attention to the movies because there's messages being sent by the top people about what it's like. They use movies sometimes to send out a message about what's upcoming in the future, and then maybe only certain groups of people can read into it. But it's like a message to not the masses, but to a select group of the masses. Is what I'm saying. Preparing them or preparing us on a subconscious level too. You know, but there's definitely messaging going on there, propaganda.
Yeah, no, you definitely have um the propaganda is spread. It's so important. I started to see like the holding back of information
Hmm.
and the dissemination of information they want you to believe. Like
Yes.
there was a person on the stream who grew up with NASA, and it was just no way. He was like, basically thought I was like a some type of conspiracy thing because I was like, look, could they have lied when they went? They're saying that they went to this celestial body in the sky. I'm not saying we might not be able to ever go there or whatever it is, but do you think that that tape and that Nixon calling him on the phone, you think that's real? And he was like, yeah. You
Hmm.
know, he tried to kind of say maybe Nixon, it was PR, like a PR stunt, but definitely don't question that they went. They were definitely on the planet. And I'm like, it just kind of told me where he was at. I was like, wow. So they can't. So you're telling me that there's no way they can lie and say that they didn't go, and you know what we're talking about. Basically,
Sure.
you know and that's the same thing. Evolution's even worse. Evolution is like the fact that they will try to say that somebody is um not scientific when we're actually being scientific is insane to
Yeah.
think about that. Yeah, yeah,
Oh, exactly.
yeah.
Exactly.
I mean, when they try to explain the process, it's actually getting funny at this point. It's like any question we ask, like, well, it works. It's like, oh my
Or you don't understand it. You don't know the evolutionary process. And then, and if they go into it, they'll explain the anatomy of a fish. It's like, no, no, we're talking about origins, you know? We're not talking about how a fish works or our heart functions. We're not questioning that. We're questioning its origin. But, you have to repeat yourself about a million times, and they're playing games because they
yeah.
can't defend their position. So they're going to circle around it any way they can. It's there's zombification. But speaking of movies, have you ever seen the 1998 movie, The Siege?
That sounds familiar. Is that with Seagal? No.
Denzel Washington. I can't remember. Let's see.
Okay, okay, yeah, yeah. I think he was
Bruce
under
Willis.
siege. Yeah.
Yeah,
He,
1988
yeah.
thriller, big terrorist attacks in New
No,
York.
I don't remember it. I don't remember it.
Yeah, 2 years before 9/11, terrorist attacks in New York City leading to declaration of martial law and conflict over civil liberties. So
Mhm.
it's like, yeah, pay attention to Hollywood. They are predicting things before they happen all the time. You may not like the movie. It may not be a great movie, but I guess look for the messaging. Look for the message.
Makes me wonder, like, is it foreknowledge and then they act it out, or is it something where time can actually, maybe somebody does have something that's switching stuff up. uh I mean, just understanding time, the fact that they make a time machine seem to be like a physical thing you sit in, like the movie with from H.G. Wells, the one from the 50s. I don't know if you ever saw that one, the time machine, where he sits in.
Yes, yes. No, I
Yeah,
love that movie. Yeah.
and when he goes there, and those people that the underground Morlocks were raising as like cattle and sheep, basically,
Hmm.
the Eloi. That's basically what I look at most of us. We're one step away from being Eloi. And
Yeah.
when we look at the rest of the people, they're straight Eloi. They're Eloi that will try to get us to become Eloi. And it the when I really think that movie, in especially that one, the way they were just like the girl was drowning in the river, and the other people were just sitting there watching. And she's a pretty girl, and then he jumps in to save her and pulls her out. And he's like, why didn't anybody jump in to save her? So he realized they really made that movie to where they were like so unthinking that even a deer, if it had another deer and it's drowning, they might help one another. We definitely see it with raccoons and other stuff like that.
Hmm.
So to say that in that movie that the humans were so removed, like so beyond sheepified, straight Eloi. And then the Morlocks had, basically, because the movie did what did have a pro evolutionary thing to it, that they evolved into an underground cave dwelling meat eating race of people, and they were basically raising the Eloi on the top. The remake of the movie, I noticed they make the Eloi brown, because on top they would naturally be brown.
Hmm.
Or there could be in certain instances where they're not. But I think the first one was better, with them being like blonde and very, very blue-eyed, light-skinned, was that it kind of showed like it just gave it a more sheep-like look, to
Yeah.
where, like, the people that acted in that did a very good job, because it was sort of like they were just unaware, there for the pickings. Like, if an alligator came up, they would just be taken, and the other person is like, maybe would run away, and it just, Eloi instead of zombie is actually more accurate when I think about it now. So when they made that first one, when I look at people, they're zombified. And yeah, zombie, the Eloi are the good ones, the good zombies.
Yeah.
Because they're not trying to get you zombified, because they're on autopilot. They're
Hmm.
doing their own thing. They're like, look, I got my zombie stuff. I don't even want to talk to you. I want to play video games, or do some, people really get consumed with the electronic slave bracelet. It really, really. I mean, evolution. I'm surprised that science is trying to like fight this. I mean, when I look at stuff like this, and I'm saying to myself, I can't believe people believe this. But yeah, yeah, man, yeah, clear signs, and I don't see. Yeah,
Can you imagine reading an entire book on a fantasy and then having to take tests on that fantasy? But that's
yeah,
what they do to us in the public school system. It's ridiculous. Yeah, yeah, it starts right there, and it puts you at a major disadvantage if you think about it. If you grew up thinking that you just evolved and there's no afterlife and there's nothing above you, you're never going to ask the right questions or be guided in the right direction. You're going to be lost a lot of times. It's so it's a major implication than just a lie. It affects, but that's why they push it so much to the young children. Because they know the how vulnerable the child mind is. They know that, and so that's why they go really want to take control of the public school system. Some
mm,
you know.
Yeah, it's true. Yes, it's like the school system. John Gatto, who wrote that book, Weapons of Mass Instruction, really, he really he exposed it. He showed like, look, this is just basically the public school trenches. I remember he called it, and he said it's a form of adoption, and the fact that they adopt the people, because school is a form of adoption when you think about it. Uh,
Hmm.
the kid is being indoctrinated, and the fact that they have to take a test. When I think about those tests, like some of the ones that I took when I was in school, at first I liked it in a way. I was academic, but I used to like to draw. So basically, writing on paper, whatever, I enjoyed that. But then it got to a point to where it wasn't fun, and I just didn't. I was just thinking it just was too much emphasis on that, and not enough just uh reality. I mean, school is really yeah, you think about it, it's a form of adoption. And
Well, think about it too. Like if say right now, MD at your age, my age, we go to school. Let's just say hypothetically, we go to some classroom, and then the teacher says, "Hey, MD, you know what? You're kind of stupid." It's probably not going to bother you. You don't even think twice about it afterwards. You're an older man now. You've had your life experience. But when you're a 7, 8-year-old kid, that could have devastating effects on you. You know what I'm saying? You're brand new to this world. You know
yep.
what I'm saying?
Yeah,
So,
or
oh,
saying that you come from a monkey,
yeah.
and that somebody, yeah, it could really affect the person, instead of saying. And it's a hard one to tell a kid, like, we're not sure. Some people think it's this, some people think it's that. But, for some reason, like, we
Hmm.
know it doesn't make sense. I mean, evolution is really, it's used to control people.
Yeah. And the scarring of children, it really is. The tests and everything, they don't promote, you know, a child at that age, should he really be so hardly tested or so demanded of when he just entered into the world, or should be more of something uplifting? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like they see you drawing. Oh, hey, you like drawing? Let's get you involved in art class. You know what I mean? It's just that would be a more uplifting experience in the public school system. But they don't do that. They give you tests, they label kids, and some of these teachers have real serious issues sometimes. They're very nasty people.
Hmm.
And it's scarring to the children. It really is. Like I said, we could handle it. Like me as an adult, if I take a class and they call me an idiot, no big deal. I'm a freaking adult. I don't care. But as a kid, whole different ballgame. And then you remember that as an adult, so it does affect you. It does scar. Um, yeah, it's just it's these people know what they're doing. That's why they want to go after the children so much. You know what I'm saying? They know what they're
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I was looking up some of the other frauds that they have. Like, they have the Archaeoraptor in '99, Peppered Morts, the Nebraska Man, of course, Piltdown Man, and Heckle.
And there's
Wow.
more that we've never heard of. I remember one time one guy came out with something in National Geographic with a monkey, but it was quickly disproven as the missing link.
Yeah.
First it was celebrated, but then it got quickly disproven because everybody wants the prize to be the one who discovers it. That's
Hmm.
that's that's where it's not that creationists are disproving so much. Even evolution are going to disprove themselves because they want to be the top dog. They want to have the prize of being able to discover things.
Yeah. And
So,
then there's a guy, Rainer Prosch von Zeiten. He had falsified the dates for the Neanderthal thing. So
mhm.
that one, there's a lot of frauds when you look into evolution. And like, when I had that one guy on, Austin and his friend, and he was like, just, he couldn't take it. I could see he probably had a problem with religion, and maybe it led to some type of trauma, and he ran to evolution.
Hmm. Wow. But I mean, at the same time, too, you're not going to be accepted by academia unless you accept evolution. I mean, you're not going to be able to teach. And I mean,
Yeah, not on a
mm-mm.
on a on like a federal or even a state funded
Right?
school or university, but if it's a private school, yeah. But who knows if there's a market for that? I mean, there is a market to maybe with the computer, somebody could look into saying, okay, I'll see if I can service all of these people, especially, the fact that people can do live webinars and say, we'll teach from home. Because I mean, we've had this technology for over 20 years where they could have had people where the mother's at home, the kid is sitting there by the monitor looking at the teacher, and it's being streamed to 30 students, or 30 is about right, and then have a teacher's assistant on the chat to where people could, be taught that way.
I think it's a much better way of teaching, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
And
everything. I mean, the fact that people are forced this evolution as if it was fact has its detriments. It definitely has its detriments on a person's thinking.
And I don't think the people at the top, the elites, actually believe in this crap either. They know better.
Yeah.
Just the simple mind. It's just for the masses, the poor, the middle class. It's for them, not for the elites. They believe something else completely different.
Yeah, the
Neanderthal thing. There, to be honest with you, I really have my doubts.
Alexis says, "MT, are animals as stupid as we perceive them?" Definitely not, man. I don't perceive them as being stupid, but some people do, and those people end up getting, we already know they get put on hold for a while. Like that lady who went into the polar bear thing years ago. It was like a heavyset lady, and the polar bear mauled her. I don't know if it ended her. The dude who used to do the tigers, Siegfried, I guess, or something like that. Freud, Siegfried and Freud, I think.
Oh, I remember that in Las Vegas.
Yeah. And then one of the tigers mauled the guy. I don't know if he killed him.
But animals aren't stupid. What is this? They're not stupid. They were designed for a different purpose. We were designed for one purpose. If you're saying, well, we're smarter than animals because they can't study and read and write, well, that's not what they were designed for. They serve another purpose. The insects help our ecological system, and the mammals, heck, we learn from them. The beaver we learn from, the birds we learn from, with their flight. We learn from these animals. They were put there as a design, and even the pictures you showed with those gears. So now we can see things on such a level that we can invent things from these insects that already have the technology that was given. You know what I mean? It's all there by purpose. It really is.
Yeah, no, you're
the
right.
Flagellum and DC motor. Sorry. The flagellum. It's just like a DC motor.
Yeah. No, definitely. The fact that they teach, see right here, this is real science to say, okay, these layers are with a big, thick, darker layer on top. If we just look at it basic, easy, somebody learn it within seconds. They say, okay, the top layer is different. So that's the first classification. It's different. The middle layers, that look like strands, that's also different. And then it looks to be like a solid lower layer that doesn't have visible strands on it. I don't know if you can notice the three differences.
Yeah, I'm seeing that. And actually, Ken Hovind did a thing where if you ever see his channel, how to build the Grand Canyon, like we're seeing right here. He built the dam, and then he basically broke the dam, and the water flooded. And it really, you look at that thing, and he shows it all on video in real time. It looks just like the Grand Canyon after it's all said and done. I mean, it's such a perfect example of.
Yeah, no, it definitely. See, this the thing is if he were to hold his faith and tell people, look, that's his faith and not like everybody's truth, people might look at the science of what he's presenting more.
Agreed.
But when he goes on a religious tirade or something, it just turns people back to evolution because they start to see the trauma that allowed whatever abuse that happened, because the abuse in all religious institution, not just the church, but
Mhm.
worldwide, the sexual abuse is crazy. If you look it up and look at the statistics, oh my goodness, man.
No, it's bad. It's ridiculous. That's what I say. I'm not here to promote religion. And most religions are frauds. They're just there to take your money. These prosperity preachers you see on the Joel Osteens and so forth, they're there to collect money. They're there to get rich.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not here to defend religion, for crying out loud. And most of the people who go to these churches anyway,
Yeah.
except Mr.
Yeah.
Religion.
But I will admit a lot of the stuff Kent presents, some of it is most of it, I would say, is very, very scientific. It gets
Very,
to a point where you have to watch the way certain things, where he'll place them, because again, he's placing them so hard for people to go back, to the religion, to his religion. So sometimes I notice he presents, very open stuff, but then when it gets to a point, it's like, okay, he just, his explanation is God did it. So if we really look at it as the creation of space, time, and matter together, that's the physical creation, and that he's saying that what he believes is God is beyond that. But then, when he gets really religious on just the book, the King James version, and you start to say, wait a minute, this is an edited book of a certain, like a of a very large series of books, and you tell me only this book, right? Not the full, whatever, or and it just gets a person to say maybe what he's saying about the science isn't true.
exactly.
So when we look at this from a purely scientific lens and we say, okay, simple and cut, the top is different, the middle is different because it has strata, the bottom is different because it looks solid but about the same color as the middle, but we see the difference in texture. So we could assume that the three levels are different dates. Evolution, if they did not see this form from the Mount St. Helens, would say, of course, millions, billions of years. They would probably say the bottom layer is billions of years. The middle is like dinosaur type era. And then the top layer possibly going into modern, but not too modern, because the modern is like just the top little, maybe half or a quarter of that black layer on top, because according to their time scale. But then we find out this was all created at one time through a massive pyroclastic flow from when Mount St. Helens erupted. And when you look close, in some parts, you see strata that people would have said, if wasn't witness, is a lot older than it actually is, because it's the same age. So this is what I was saying about searching for truth, right? And finding something more weird than you thought would happen. And that's what I noticed, because when I read Michael Cremo's book, Forbidden Archaeology, I realized that, wow, strata dating is the most accurate form of dating, because that's what he said in the book. So it made total sense. I remember meeting him in 2018, really cool guy. But now, studying stratification and how it works, I realize it happens all at once. It's amazing. Alexis says, what does reading and writing do that makes us superior to animals? It allows us to fake moon landings. It's ridiculous, man. It's crazy, bro. It's crazy. And animals, yeah, they're not, animals are very sentient. The senses that they have, it's just it really, when I think about it, it's like, man, I'm just looking for I had a couple of charts here. The picture, religion of evolution, Darwin's divine evolution, man. The finches, the adaptations. I mean, the fact that, drawings of different types of the same species, different adaptations. but with a different story. And this is the power of storytelling. These are evolved for some reason. It's crazy. Yeah.
Really is. And I said this before to other people. If we were to learn real history, unlike the history, say we were taught in school, not that it was all a lie, but especially going back to ancient civilizations, I think more kids would be more fascinated. Everybody would be more fascinated in the real history because it's probably very interesting.
Yeah.
The mythology about Atlantis and so forth. It's like, well, wait a minute. Okay, we know there was an advanced civilization here. So now, but they suppress this information. They do. People have found things in caves, like, what is this? And all of a sudden it gets closed up, or they hide the information from us about, because I've heard one time there's been stories about even in the Grand Canyon, there was entrances to other areas underground with hieroglyphics or some writings from an ancient advanced civilization, but they try to hide it. They try to keep it quiet.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, there's a guy that actually has a video that shows they used to do research on where hieroglyphs seem to, if read as if the block was transparent, would match hieroglyphs in other rooms.
Oh, wow.
And this is a really deep theory. I forgot the guy's name.
That's a four-dimensional view of those hieroglyphs, because in 4 dimensions you'd be able to see through the other room.
Well, I mean, or if it was just transparent. So let's just say the bricks were transparent, like this brick right here that I made, just to demonstrate, right? This brick would be solid. You wouldn't be able to see through it.
Yes.
But if they're saying certain temples are made to where if everything was transparent and you look through and you see this match up with the other hieroglyphs on the other wall, it gives a whole deeper meaning to a mess. Like it was talking about something about saying how the physical is transparent or something like that. Like this material world has a transparency to it.
Right.
I got to look for the video. I'll look for
I guess
video.
I'm looking at, the Tesseract. They talk about the Tesseract.
Yes.
Where if we look at that, like we see a cube in 3 dimensions. We see the height, width, and length. But in the Tesseract, we can see the cube within the cube. So we're actually looking through the cube.
Yeah.
And, that's why I bring up that 4th dimension, because look at that right there, what you're showing right there.
Yeah.
There's got to be more than meets.
Oh, yeah. The fact that this is the floor on a church and a floor on an area that's hundreds of years old. And then this guy made the Schumann resonator with charts. And this is the Charts Cathedral Labyrinth. So it's a pattern as if it was held technology that someone decoded and put it into a resonator and actually showed that, hey, this hall over here was also holding the ancient technology blueprint, basically, it seems like. And evolution, I had this bird here. They try to say this was the bird that was a bird transforming into a reptile. Or no, a reptile transforming into a bird, basically. But the different colored rocks are different rocks. So it's labeled in a way that when you see the orange and the yellow and the green and the pink and blue rock, those are all fabricated from different types of rocks put together when scanned through a certain type of method. So it's a fake that was pieced together. Trying to say so the fact that people are trying to push this with lies after lie, and it's getting taught in schools, it's as if they know what they're doing, because it's like saying, okay, they're going to show these people frauds, and a lot of people still believe this is true.
That's the sad part. You became an adult and you still don't think for yourself. That's that. I don't blame kids. They're kids. But come on, you're an adult and you don't want to wake up. This is ridiculous now. You know, I don't claim to be the smartest guy, the sharpest tool in the shed, but shit, I mean, I can even see it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, whoa. You know, this doesn't take a great genius to see through this. It really doesn't. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So wow, and that makes it even more scary, the zombification of people, that it doesn't require an average intelligence is good enough,
Mhm.
and they're still zombified. That's the crazy part.
Yeah. Yeah. Zombified, deeply, deeply zombified to
And
the
you can tell too when I went on Breakfast Tacos, it's a hatred of religion, specifically Christianity, the Bible.
yeah. Hmm.
Good. And I told them this when I went on the show. Just say you hate Christians, and I'll respect what you have to say. I have no problem with that. But you're not being honest.
Hmm.
You're trying to push the evolution lie because you hate Christianity. Just say you hate Christianity, but evolution? No, I can't prove it, and it's not true based on the science. You
They
know,
went from one religion to the other religion.
right?
So now angel apes, Tyrannosaurus Rex, Darwin is the Pope, and they're in the church. They're in the church of evolution.
Right. And my goal is not to convert anybody to a religion. My goal is to convert people to reality.
Hmm.
That's it. That's it. I like to see people living in the real world. That's all. It's not religion. Religion to me should be a whole different debate. It should not be included in the evolutionary discussion at
Hmm.
all. I don't agree with that. Like you said, Ken Hovind, great stuff. I've loved his videos, but he has to inject revolution. It's like, wait a minute, Ken, it's not a sermon. You're not in church.
Yeah,
This
yeah.
should be a scientific only debate.
Well, you know what? Evolution gets exposed. It's in a way like because there's such a battle between him and the evolutionist, we
Hmm.
see like okay, like wow, like it's kind of like having a couple because they're both religions that used to be married to each other and they split up and now they're telling on each other. But any person that thinks could see that okay, not everything is going to be told to you in a book. Uh and whatever created everything we see, I'm not sure if it's going to transfer that knowledge into something somebody can write in a single book. And then to make it even more deeper is that we know that book comes from many other books and there's parts that are left out and this and that. So it's like, wait a minute. So basically a part of a story, so that right there gets you to question like, wait, come on, man, but most people don't want to question that.
Right. But it's a whole different debate. It doesn't prove we came from some simple celled organism.
Mhm.
It has nothing to, one has
Yeah,
nothing to do with the other. It's a separate
exactly.
debate.
And what's messed up is that I don't think he sees, or maybe he, you know, I mean, maybe he does if he's an agent trying to push people toward evolution, because anybody who is seeking a scientific answer, once and they're not that smart, say, because you see a lot of these guys, they're like they're easy to be manipulated because they're not thinking, basically, to say, okay, you're traumatized from religion,
Mhm.
something happened, the priest, whatever, traumatized, who knows, but or just traumatized by family, because sometimes family members are so zombified, the religious zombies are um just brutally like
100% agree.
yeah, just straight witch hunting people, that the person will run right into evolution and start bowing down right away and believing the fake stuff like, oh, this fish was 300 million years old, and then it evolved, and then it's like, well, what about, they caught it right off the coast of it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. When you look at something like this, somebody should wake up. Just the
Mhm.
way when they listen to some religions, and it's like, look, man, if you work on Sunday, uh, God said not to work on Sunday. Now, there might be a significant meaning to that somehow, somewhere. But I think the more we look back into that, um, the deeper the mystery,
Sure.
we're gonna say, okay, is this is it is it bullshit, or does it have a spiritual meaning? One guy wrote a book called The Manna Machine, and the Manna Machine, he talks about that when, I don't know if it was the Israelites or whatever people was in the desert wandering around, and they were eating the manna. He says he thinks that it was a machine that produced a type of algae. Now you can get all the nutrients you need from certain algae. And he said that he thinks that from certain texts, it's saying that the manna may have been produced from this machine, and they had to clean it on the seventh day. So the seventh day became some type of holy day. Now this takes, it doesn't address anything like, okay, for one, where did they get the manna machine from?
Right.
Saying, I guess in the religious text, it would be saying what they're calling God, which we know that if it's a physical manna machine, so now you got to think to yourself, all right, do I believe that appeared like some genie was just like poof, or did some physical emissary, or maybe the creator of humanity or the creators are somehow giving us technology? And then when we look at certain myths, if you look back, I think Prometheus he was the one that gave us the fire, and then Zeus punished him severely, brutally. You think about some of the stuff and you say, wow, this is really deep. It's deeper than any science fiction movie and that they can make. Matter of fact, a lot of science fiction movies are based on ancient
Yeah.
yeah.
Prometheus, especially in that movie too, where he mated with the female. But like a big part of why religion turns so many people off, and that's why I'm not here to promote religion or to defend it in any way, shape, or form, because the way they describe this creator, you'll find that they install fear into people. Like, you got to fear the creator. You got to fear this. You're doing wrong. He's going to come down on you. It's like the one that I know is nothing like that. It's nothing like that at all. In fact, it'd be like having a chill, good friend who wants to help you out. You know, it's this, but the misrepresentation and the characterization of him, and like I said with school, the same thing happens with the kids who have to be forced to go to church. They get traumatized because they're young children, and they have to deal with people who have other agendas, especially in what we've seen in the Catholic religion and some of the scandals there. So I understand the hatred because I'm kind of on board with that too. I'm against a lot of religions too, but let's keep it separate from the evolutionary debate. Let's not mix the two together. That's not the way to go. Call out false religions. I'm all for it. I'll be right on board. If you want to have a stream on the hypocrisy of religion, I'm right on board to call it all out. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't agree with it either. So
yeah, no, it definitely. When the more I look into it, and these are just basic things, the coelacanth and other fossils that are found in modern fish.
yeah,
The gear-like mechanism in between the legs of many insects.
and don't we put that in some of our technology right there? That insect with the gears, we use that technology. I know we use it in manual transmissions. Gear meshing and so forth.
Mm-hmm.
And some of the industrial equipment, they use the different size gears to create torque. And we need torque in order to lift heavy objects and so forth, and to speed things up from a stop. So right there, it's showing some torque. That I think that animal you had mentioned in earlier streams, it's able to jump really high. Well, what's it producing? It's producing torque with those gears to jump high.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's definitely something where when we look at it, it's like as designed as mechanical apparatus that we create today. So it's when you look at certain insects, I mean, it's amazing. It's genetic. I mean, have you ever seen that beetle, the giraffe beetle? It's like a giraffe neck beetle. I gotta see if I can find a picture of it. Let me see. Giraffe.
That's why I love these streams, because I'll get information I didn't have before. That's why I love them. I support them.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here, let me see if I could save this picture. But it's like it's kind of amazing, because when you look at it, it's almost unbelievable, actually, because sometimes it's kind of like we were saying, you look for something and then you find something that you can't even believe. It's like, wait a minute, I can't even believe this happened. And those are happy accidents, kind of like, I guess, Bob Ross would say, right? That guy, they used to paint, remember? He'd say happy
Oh
accidents.
yeah, Bob Veal. What's
Yeah.
I can't remember.
Yeah, he but this is a very odd beetle.
Hmm.
It's the giraffe neck beetle. And I mean, when I think about it, it really it's like, how? Why? It really makes you wonder. It really makes you wonder.
And the deeper we go with these insects and see what they do, it gets more complex. It's like they're up to something.
Yeah.
You know. I mean, look at an ant farm. As a kid. I mean, they're organized. They know what they're doing.
Mhm.
And yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm sure if we were able to get into a microscopic level of all its bodily functions, we'd probably be
Yeah.
shocked at what we'd find.
I mean, I look at these and it's amazing that they exist, because you look at it's like these two shots here. It's like, this is amazing to see a beetle like this with a long neck, like what a dinosaur would look like a brontosaurus or a diplodocus or something, with the tail, but without the tail. Just it has the front long neck. So it's like it it makes you wonder. It's like some type of secret little genie creating life from someplace.
Yeah.
It just yeah. This is Alice in Wonderland. Yeah, this is like it's like, holy smokes, man. And then they give us this fairy tale of evolution that to try and take the fascination, like the magic that we have in life. You
Yeah.
look around you, yeah, and it's just like, holy
And it's
smokes.
probably serving a purpose for our ecological system. We don't know what it is, maybe, but if we look at it through that lens, eventually we'll find it.
Yeah, yeah. There's a piece of art that I looked at, right? And now when you look at this art on the right, it reflects in the mirror a piano. I don't know
Wow.
if you can see
Wow.
it,
That's amazing.
right?
That's
So
amazing.
to see that happens makes me really wonder. Like, you know, it really is amazing. Like it's like just shows a whole new facet of reality. But yeah, I was gonna I think Scribe I don't know, I think I sent you an email about Scribe's thing.
No, I
So
don't. I didn't receive an email. I think,
uh
did I? Or maybe it went into another bin.
let me
Uh,
see if I still have it. I'm gonna try to I think it's wait, did I send it to this one? Remember when you sent me the UFO?
right.
Do you still use that one?
I'd have to check. You know what? I have different email accounts, so I have
Oh,
to
okay,
check.
okay, okay, okay. I'll see if
You
I,
know what? Let me look. I can look under the Google.
yeah, if anything.
I only check my main one, and the other ones are just kind of a
Mhm.
fright. Yeah, but I can check right now.
Yeah, I'm looking.
He was having a show. I know he was on True Prodigy last night. I saw
Yeah,
that.
yeah, exactly. He dropped his link on there. I don't know if you saw it. Yeah, so I was just, because we were keeping it separate.
Sure, sure.
Yeah, so I think the link is over there because I was just searching to see where I thought I sent it to you. I think I did. Um, let me see. Because I sent it to Jose. and a few others. Oh yeah, Mr. Florida.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm trying to get in there right now.
All
Okay.
right, yeah. So yeah, that's Scribe's thing. But yeah, man, these the artwork on this thing is just amazing, man. To think that that reflects. Yeah, man. Thanks, Nate, man. I appreciate it, man. Yeah, just yeah, Sunday,
No, no, I'm
just
glad you had the stream. It's always
yeah, man.
that's
Yeah,
amazing though. I wanted to see more of that.
yeah, yeah.
I
I'll
never
definitely
knew
see.
something like that existed,
Yeah,
man.
because there's other ones too that when you turn it one way, you see one thing. You turn it the other way, you see something totally different. But the mirrored ones, and then they have ones where they cast light on it, and the shadow is the artwork.
Wow.
So it's like, yeah, really, I mean, just it makes you question perspective and perception, and it just when you look at things from these different perspectives, it's just like holy smokes, like
Yeah,
very
it's like I went to the Louvre in Paris, but it
Mhm.
was interesting to see, but at the same time, I'm not an art aficionado, so I'm probably not getting the full appreciation for what it is. You know what I'm saying? But when you come up with stuff like that, then it makes me want to think about it, research a little more.
Yeah, the fact that they can have something cast a reflection or a shadow, it really, yeah, it's like, oh my goodness. And then to look at nature with the long neck beetle. And that's just one of the things. I know you've seen the other beetle that explodes like type of thing.
Yeah, which one's that one?
The bombardier, I think.
Oh, the
Bombardier
bomb.
beetle.
I know the beetle that gives out the smoke and everything like that. That's a crazy one. The stink beetle and everything.
Yeah, yeah, that one. It's just amazing when I think it's just like, oh yeah, that happened by chance, right? Over billions of years, they figured out how to put these two chemicals together.
Mm-hmm.
That, random mutation, and then they'll bring in natural selection. But yeah, man. Yeah, I'll see. I think he's gonna stream tonight. So
Is
yeah,
well, it
yeah.
should I should get the notification, right? It's the same channel.
No,
Or
no, it's a different one. I sent you the link on email.
okay, let
Yeah,
me.
if you want, I
I
could
just have
send
to
you
find
a
the
different
password.
email. If you want to write me, on the email. If you still got, I don't know if you still have mine because you wrote to me. Remember when you sent me the? I don't think it's the one because I think you sent me from two different ones. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I found I just have to get the password. I can find
Yeah.
that under the Florida
But
one.
definitely, I think if he was on, yeah, yeah. So probably, I don't know if he doesn't stream. I don't know if I'll stream tonight if he doesn't stream, but I think he's gonna stream, and and then tomorrow, yeah. But yeah, thanks. Thanks everybody in the chat, man. Appreciate it, man. And yeah, yeah, we'll talk soon. All right,
Thanks, that'd be a great stream.
all right. Thanks. Bye.